I would say if there was one thing that I had to point to that allowed me to get through grad school, to start the business, to start making a life that I actually enjoy and actually like am excited about every morning, it was my perspective. Like I had to start with just changing my perspective. You see, I tell people, I tell my clients, I tell my friends that perspective is everything because it truly is. If every single time you look around, you're seeing lack, if every single time you look over your past, you see failures and mistakes and regrets, that is literally corroding away at your mind. It's literally teaching you and training you to look for all of the bad things in your life. It's training you to start looking and examining and focusing. And that's the problem. You start to focus on the negative. You start to focus on what's not working for you. You start to focus so much on it that you miss all of the blessings that's happening. You miss all of the good things that are happening for you. You forget that 10 years ago, you would have never thought you are where you are today. And a lot of times we look at the mistakes that we've made and we beat ourselves up for it and we have regrets, and people may not have even forgiven you for some of the things that you've done, some of those things that keep haunting you. But if you stay in that place, you never get better. The only way to improve, the only way to get better is to change your perspective. So I stopped beating myself up for mistakes. I stopped beating myself up for failures, quote unquote failures. And I started looking at what is the lesson that I learned. I started looking at, okay, how can I grow from this? I said, okay, I wish I had done this differently. I wish I had handled that differently. I know that moving forward, how can I work on my personal development in such a way that this becomes ingrained in me so that version of myself doesn't show up again? I think about what transformation Peter had to go through to go from cutting ears off to then seeing Jesus fix it and basically correct him when even though he thought he was doing the right thing, he thought he was trying to defend Jesus and he thought he was, commendable. But he had to go through a transformation and realize that I can't do this again. I can't continue to live my life like this. I can't continue to walk in disobedience to who God is calling me and showing me to be. Our lives are the same way. Once God corrects something, once he shows you why you shouldn't do something, or he's showing you that this isn't the right way, you now have an obligation to change your trajectory. You have an obligation to remember that lesson and to move forward with wisdom and understanding so that you don't keep rehearsing the same test. A lot of people are out here repeating the same test because you never learned the lesson the last time. You never learned from the past. You just wallowed in it. You just beat yourself up about it, but you didn't actually grow or learn something. And that's like probably the biggest mistake that people make to this date, is not learning from it. Instead, they just rather sit in it and beat themselves up about it. I think something else that a lot of people, I would encourage people to do is, when you are going through trials, when you are going through tribulations, when you have made some mistakes, when you have some regrets, the goal is to keep moving forward. Think about it as if you were on a jungle gym and you are on one end of the monkey bars. In order for you to get to the other side, if this is your first time doing it, you won't have to fall because your strength hasn't been built up in this arena yet. You haven't learned how to move and keep the momentum going yet. So the first time you attempt it, you might fall on the second bar. You may hold the bar and just stand there not knowing how to get the momentum to reach for the next bar, or you might be afraid to reach for the next bar. But the more that you attempt it, the more that you try, the more that you build up your strength, the more that you remember what didn't work last time and start learning from that, eventually you will make your way across those monkey bars to the other side. That is the success in it. There's no fun. I remember when I was a kid, I would stand on one end of the monkey bars and I would get frustrated that I couldn't get to the other end because I wasn't strong enough and I didn't know how to keep the momentum going to reach, and I was scared of falling. So what I would do is I would climb up on one end, hold the bar, and then drop, run to the other end, and climb up and hold the other bar as if I had completed it. That wasn't fun. In the moment, it looks like success. It looks like progress. Anyone just arriving to that scene, they would say, oh, she made it to the other side, not knowing I skipped some steps. And a lot of you are skipping some steps. You are skipping over the adversity that you have to learn through. You're skipping over the lessons that God has placed you in, and you keep rehearsing the same test because you didn't learn last time what you did wrong. You didn't learn last time how you could move and navigate that situation better. And so instead, you keep repeating the same thing over and over again. And then you look and say, why haven't I made any progress? Why haven't I gotten any further? Why am I back in this same relationship? Why am I back in this same situation? Why am I repeating the same patterns over and over again? It's because you refuse to learn from what happened in the past. You refuse to learn what happened last time, how you can learn from it and then grow from it and apply what you've learned to the future so that you're not repeating the same thing over and over again. That is the lesson that needs to be learned. That's my encouragement to you. Don't keep rehearsing the same thing over and over again.